Hi, I'm Dre. I want to welcome you to another one of our Thursday Get Together workshops where we work on some strategies that provide an immediate impact into your life. I hope you've been enjoying last month's series when we finished up on the winner's mindset. If you have any thoughts or questions, you can definitely reach out to me. I'm always available. This month, we're going to shift from the growth mindset that you'll find within the winner's mindset, and we're going to shift into the execution mindset. And if you're not familiar, there's three mindsets that I focus on, and that is the execution mindset, the growth mindset, and the fearless mindset. So I try to find some techniques or strategies that you can implement within each one of the mindsets because I believe that that is the way that you're going to conquer any fears and self-doubt that you have. So we're going to shift, as I mentioned, into the execution mindset. More specifically, we're going to talk this month about managing stress and avoiding burnout. And the reason I say avoiding burnout is because burnout is something that does not have to be inevitable. The idea with burnout is that we are burning both ends of the candle, as they say. So you may feel that you are exhausting yourself physically, but that you're also exhausting yourself emotionally. And there is an understanding that I cannot do this forever. And I find that most people understand that it is inevitable that I'm going to collapse from the stress that I'm putting on myself, both physically and mentally. So I have to get a certain outcome so that I can then take a step back. So being someone that understands that it is very difficult to just say, hey, get 8 hours of sleep. Hey, make sure you get to work on time and that you leave on time. I understand that sometimes you feel like you have to make certain sacrifices in the short term to create some of the long-term goals that you're trying to accomplish. So what we're going to talk about this month is a little bit more realistic. I'm going to focus on the ability for you to extend that burnout phase. So if you're burning on both ends of the candle and you're like, man, I only have like a couple days left, like there's no way I can do another week like this, and you feel like you're going to have some sort of a collapse. Maybe some of these strategies can help extend you out another month, 2, 3, maybe even a year, so that you're able to accomplish the goal that you want. I'm not going to preach from a soapbox. We all understand what it is to be healthy. We understand that the energy for us to optimize our performance, that we need to have a certain amount of rest, we need to eat the right food, etc., etc. So I just want to help you accomplish what you are already trying to achieve. I believe anyone who is betting on themselves and they believe that I can get the outcome that I want, I'm always going to be someone who is on your side, and I want to help you to accomplish that goal. So before we get started, if you are someone who is looking to find their purpose and to accomplish their goals without feeling anxious or sacrificing their overall happiness, I invite you to join me for 30 minutes for your Conquer Your Fears and Doubt coaching call. This is going to be free to you. What we'll go over is we'll help identify any sort of limiting and false beliefs that are holding you back, sabotaging your life. We're going to focus on some of the mindsets and techniques that you can implement in your life to change your mindset from one of fear and failure to one of accomplishments and confidence. And third, you're going to leave this coaching call feeling renewed, rejuvenated, energized with your ability to finally conquer your fears and self-doubt so you can start living your dream life. If that is of interest to you, visit forecasthope.com/coaching. And I won't take any more of your time, but we'll go ahead and get started. So today I'm just going to share some strategies that you can implement within 5 phases of your life that will help you to create a work-life balance. That is where we're going to start with our Managing Stress and Avoiding Burnout series. So the 5 categories of your life that we're going to talk about are managing your time, having a social life, managing work, making time for your family, and weekends and leisure time. And within each of these, we're going to talk about maybe 2 things that you can implement to provide an immediate impact in helping you to feel less stress and avoiding burnout. So starting with managing your time, first we have on the list to just set your priorities for the day, the week, the month, and the year. What you want to be able to do is to wake up understanding exactly what's going to happen. So for me, I have a vague plan of the year that I set in like December. But I then look at that each month and I'm like, okay, now that I have a better idea of what's going on, I already have my overall direction, but now that I have a better idea of what's going on, I can say I want to do this month. So I do that the month before. And then on Sunday of each week, I'm like, okay, I have a great idea what I want to do this week. So now let me implement some things that I want to accomplish this week. And then each morning I wake up and I list maybe 2 or 3 things that have to be done today. And we do that because we understand that sometimes we have great plans and intentions for the day, but each day has enough stresses of its own. So if you at least set in your mind that I'm going to do these 2 or 3 things today, no matter what, then you're able to kind of prioritize what's going on. Because a lot of the times those fire drills you find out are actually not fire drills at all. If I had $1 every time I was told that something needed to be done today, and then 3 months later someone asked me if I gave it to them, and I was like, yeah, I gave it to you like the day you asked for it because you said the whole world was going to burn down. And like, oh, okay, I'll just search in my emails, the meeting got pushed back or something like that. And I'm sure you've dealt with that before as well. And what ends up happening is now you have to make up that time on the back end because you have used your vital time, or at least your work time, to accomplish something that maybe didn't have to be accomplished. But when you set in your mind ahead of time, these two or three things are going to be done today, it equips you to be like, hey, look, I can't do that today for you. I have these two or three things that I need to do. It really just helps you overall in your mindset shift. And when you talk about maybe having some meetings or different events that really drain a lot of your time, even if it's talking to a friend or two, you maybe set a day aside where you're like, look, this is a no meetings day. This is a no talk to that person day. And it's not that you're trying to be like a jerk or anything. You just want to make sure that you have that work-life balance. And a lot of that has to do with your ability to accomplish certain goals and objectives that you have set for yourself. And you'll find that we end up wasting a large amount of our time during the day. So if you can kind of get some sort of a focus, a set intention, you'll find that you don't have to take your work home and you're able to then have that better balance. Next, you want to make sure that you leave some time for hobbies. And this could be anything from hanging out with a friend to doing like what I love to do, like puzzles or something like that. Whatever you have set for yourself, you want to make sure that it is on the schedule and is not something that you're going to give up on. Even if you have a super busy week, instead of you saying, well, I can't do that one thing that I always want to do, adjust it. Maybe you only do it for 15 minutes. Maybe you only do it for 30 minutes. Either way, you'll feel the benefit of that. So for example, if you wanted to set for yourself where you have like a book club and you get together once a month and you get together for like 2 hours. If you find that you're unable to commit to those hours, then maybe you just do it 30 minutes. I'm just saying don't give up on it because you'll find if you stop, then you probably won't pick it back up. Even if you just make small adjustments on the day or the time, at least you're still keeping that commitment and it's going to provide immense value for you. Third, you want to stop multitasking. And as someone who doesn't believe multitasking actually exists, I just believe people shift very quickly from one thing to the other. It actually takes about like 20 minutes to really recommit yourself. If you have ever written an email and then someone interrupted you, you find that you have to read like the previous 5 sentences just to get your mind slowly back to where you were going. And if you stop mid-sentence, you're done. There's no way that you'll remember it. When someone distracts you, it pulls your mind into whatever they're talking about. And then you have to reacclimate your mind back into whatever you were previously doing. And that's true for all of us in all aspects of our life. So you just want to make sure that you avoid multitasking. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't combine things. For example, I love doing puzzles. I love spending time with my kids. So I do puzzles with my kids, right? So I combine two tasks. I'm not multitasking. I'm combining two tasks. And if you have that, if you have something where you can combine two things, by all means, go ahead and do it. But if you have two opposite things, then you're not multitasking. You're just shifting back and forth between the two. So now we'll move into having a social life. So when you talk about having a social life, there's really two things that I want you to take away as far as the impact that we want to have as far as our work-life balance. Number one is set it up as a regular occurrence. And then you're not working around, and then you're not trying to have fun around work. You're trying to work around your fun. And this could be something that is because just by putting it on the calendar, you're going to find that it increases the likelihood of you being able to maintain that commitment. When someone asks you if, hey, can you stay an extra hour? You'll be like, actually, I can't. I have this thing that I do. And whether that is something that's like super serious with like friends and family, or it's just some alone time, whatever it is, stay true to it. Be like, no, this is something I do every time this week or every time this month. And I've had that where I've had Bible study, let's say, every Wednesday. So anytime there was an event on Wednesday, I would say, look, I can only be there from this time to this time, or I can't be there at all. And then people started saying, well, let's not plan it on a Wednesday because Andre's unavailable on Wednesday. And all I'm saying is when you set the time, people actually work around your schedule. It really becomes the fact that we don't adhere to our own schedule, so then there's no reason for someone else to adhere to it either. And second, instead of waiting for the entire week to go by so you can have fun on the weekend, go ahead and set one activity during the week. You'll find that it provides immense value because we end up thinking, oh, Monday through Friday, this is like my dreariness, this is my work, this is me adulting. But if you're able to put in something that you would do on the weekend, during the week, you'll end up saying, you know what, I feel rejuvenated. I feel like my battery got recharged from that one day in the middle. And I find that the value is definitely there, and it's something that can be very small, as taking like a walk with a significant other, to going to a movie theater for a couple hours, whatever it is. Just throw something in the middle of the week and you'll find that the value will be there. In our third section, we're going to talk about managing work. And when you're trying to make sure that you have that work-life balance, you really want to get rid of that feeling that I'm always being suffocated and I'm always being drained by my job. And I'm not saying that you don't like your job. I'm just saying that if you take your phone with you and it's connected to your emails for work, if you take your laptop with you and you're always kind of looking on it, responding to stuff, then yeah, you feel suffocated because you've never left work. So you want to make sure that you allow yourself the ability to actually disconnect from work. And so a couple ways that you want to do that is, number one is make sure you're maximizing the time that you are doing things at work. There's studies that say that we spend somewhere around 3 hours actually productive each day at work. So if you were able to actually use all 8 hours, you would be increasing like almost 300% from the next person. And then you would get all the work done and you don't have to worry about feeling guilty about not checking any emails, not responding to anything when you're off of work. Another way that you can do that is to make sure that you set the time that you want to leave and tell everybody. This is within that social proof arena, and the idea is when I share my objectives, when I say it out loud, number one is I hear it, so that impacts my mindset where it's like, hey, I am doing this. And number two, other people know it, so then they adjust their perception as well so that you're able to accomplish the same goals. And so what you end up wanting to do is say, you know what, guys, I leave at 4:30 every single day. And you know what's going to happen. There's going to be people that come at like 4:29 and have something that's going to take like 20 minutes. And that is not because you're leaving at 4:30. If you were leaving at 7 o'clock, they would do the same thing. They would come at 6:59 and say, I have this that I want to do for 20 minutes, right? Because people procrastinate. So what you want to do is you want to block off maybe the last 20 minutes of your day where everything that's already in your queue, you just knock them out. You don't want to leave anything kind of pending or dangling where you've at least actioned everything. And as you can imagine, getting your work under control is going to impact your work-life balance immensely. Now, the goal is not to just simply make sure that you feel whole, it's to make sure that your company or the place that you work at feels whole as well. And so some of these strategies you'll actually find will help everybody to feel like it's a win-win because you're still maximizing your effort in the workplace and you're still getting the production, you're just doing it in a more efficient manner. And that is something that everybody kind of appreciates and is going to provide a lot of value. You just want to make sure that you are focused within your job and you'll get the results that you want within half the time of the next person. So we move into the fourth category of making time for your family. When you're talking about making time for your family, you really want to make sure that you allow others to help. Most of our lives have an aspect of work, but they also have a lot of other stuff that we end up doing that sometimes pulls away from our free time with our family. If you really want to make sure that you have that balance you're looking for, you have to allow other people to help you. Whether that is having someone like mow your yard or do some of your other chores so that you have time to take your family places, or whether that is having like a family or a friend babysit or help out with your kids so that you can go on like your date night with your spouse. Whatever it is that you are working towards, you want to make sure that you allow other people to help you. You're only one person, you can't do everything, and you shouldn't try to. But if you have some sort of a network that you can use, and I'm not saying that it's an easy thing, because like me and my wife, we're very particular when it comes to like who we leave our kids with. And sometimes that means that we have to drive them to my parents, which are 4 hours away, or her parents, which are 2.5 hours away. We do have some parents that are locally with us, but sometimes they travel as well. So it really just comes down to how do we make things work? Like how do we achieve our overall goals without losing out on the balance we're looking for? And oftentimes I find that we end up giving up when things become difficult, where it's like, man, it's just too hard for us to have a date night. It's really hard to coordinate this stuff. And you're right in the sense that, yeah, it's not easy, but you're wrong in the sense that you believe that that means it's impossible. Things being difficult doesn't mean it's impossible, it just means that it's difficult. And maybe you have to do more planning than the next person, and that's okay. Like, there's one of these inside jokes my wife and I have where we have certain friends and family that post like every week or every 2 weeks that, oh my goodness, we had a date night, it's been so overdue. And then, you know, we're over here where it may be like once a month or like even less than that, where we're like, oh yeah, whoa, once every week, oh, it's so overdue. But again, it's not that we wouldn't do that if it was feasible, it's that we feel okay with the way everything's going and the amount of time that we're able to get it. Like, we would like more, sure, but there's really a lot that we're doing. And in the same token, I completely understand that someone else who says once a week is not enough, well, that's fine, right? What their goals are, what they're working with, that is not enough, and that's okay, right? There is no right or wrong. You just want to make sure whatever frequency you commit to, that you commit to it. And next, you may want to explore some of those options with flexible working hours or the ability to kind of work from home as far as providing you some of that extra time with your family. If you work somewhere that has flexible hours, then you maybe can go into work a little bit later so you can drop your kids off at school, or you can get off a little earlier so that you can kind of pick some people up, or maybe you can have some sort of an extended lunch so that you can like meet your significant other. There's lots of flexibility when it comes to the way work is done in 2018, and you maybe want to take advantage of some of those. And when you're pitching it, whether it's your company or you work from someone else, you want to make sure you're always positioning it not from what you get, but from what your value is going to increase by. You want to say, look, this is going to increase my productivity because of A, B, and C. This is going to increase morale because of A, B, and C. You want to always say, like, this is what it's going to do for the company and why it's in your best interest. And that's just one of those things that we all kind of understand, but it's just good to have a reminder of it. And last, we talk about weekends and leisure. So I want to tell you, I understand the feeling that the weekend is like your free time to catch up on work. Like work is going 100 miles an hour Monday through Friday. So when it's stopped on Saturday and Sunday, you can go 100 miles an hour and then you can be like caught up or ahead or something like that. But it's going to impact you negatively in the long term. You do not want to sacrifice your weekends because, again, the goal is to feel like you have a balance. But sometimes you don't feel like that because you are choosing to not give yourself the break. And especially what seems to be more common today than ever is it seems like everybody's working on the weekend. Weekends used to be my catch-up day where I got a whole bunch of work done. I sent some emails out. I did everything that I told people I would do on Friday. I did it on Saturday because I wanted it in their email by Monday because I said I would have it done by a certain amount of time. And I felt like those were 2 extra days. Well, everybody started feeling that way, and I started getting extra work emailed to me on the weekend. So it became like just an actual work day. It wasn't a catch up day, it was a day that had its own issues. And so you just don't want to even go down that rabbit hole. Accept the fact that you're not able to get everything done, and that's okay. When you implement some of the other techniques that we already talked about, you may find that you're able to get more than enough done where you can justify and be okay with giving yourself the weekends off. And you know I wouldn't talk about your weekend and leisure time without mentioning that you want to take a break from screens. Like you do not want to spend your weekends and your leisure time and even vacations, which yes, I encourage you to take the vacations. Do not feel guilty about that. Looking at a screen. Do not. Do something more physical. Do something more creative. Do something outside. You want to make sure that you allow yourself kind of that recharging ability, and you'll find that screens are actually draining. That if you want to recharge, then you want to get some sunlight, you want to go do something, see something, engage in some physical activity. It releases those good feeling hormones, and you'll find that that helps you to create an overall balance when it comes to your work life as well. And that is it for the time that we have today. I hope that you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoy always sharing these techniques and strategies with you. Continue to let me know what you're working on, what you're interested in, what you're struggling with, and I'll continue providing solutions and results in those areas, right? I am here for you. I'm providing value for you. If you have any questions or thoughts, I always encourage you to email me at undre, that's UNDRE, at forecasthope.com. So until next time, continue blessings on your journey to become the champion of your dream life.